Okay, I'm going to attempt to make a square broach, to broach the square hole in the spools for the coils. So what I did first, I grabbed a chunk of steel and I turned a couple 1/4 inch diameters on the ends of it, of the piece that I'm going to use. One end, the long end here, probably will be the guide where it starts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mill the square down to the 1/4 inch, which will make it, just points sticking out. And then once I do that, then I'll go back to the lathe, and I'm going to start with, this one will be the big, and I'll do, well, actually I'll start from the small side, and I'll work my way, it would be over here. Duh. So I'll work my way till I get to the diameter to where I'm not taking anything off and leave like about 7 or 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a tool bit that looks like, I got a pencil here, grease pencil. So I got that, I got that chucked in my lathe right there. So and all that's left are just corners, be 4 corners left on the whole thing, ribbed, basically. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tool bit that looks like, basically like that, and this will be my relief. And I'll go in until this cleans up to a point. Actually, this is the low end, the small end, so I'll go in until the little nubs are just sticking up, just I'm finding it hard to describe. All right, let's say this is the nub sticking up right here, and here's the diameter. So we're gonna cut that back like that, if it makes any sense to you. And then the next one would be a little bit further out, a little bit further out, a little bit further out, until, like I say, until I want to end up about the middle of it with full, and then the last little bit will be full. So when I go in there to do this, this tool bit will cut the front cutting edge, and it'll face the next cutting edge. So if you're following me, I'd end up cutting it back, so the next tooth would start right about there. So that's where the cutter would be lined up. I'd go in until it cleans up, then move over, move in until it cleans up. Well, I keep saying cleans up. Actually, this is the small end. That's what I would be doing on the big end. I'm hoping I'm not confusing everybody, but I'm just going to go ahead and mill the square now on it. And then when I get that up to start milling the little nubs down the cutting edges, I'll show you my setup. I put centers in it so I can actually chuck onto one and then work my way, whether I work this way or from the tailstock end, does not matter as long as I got the angle right. So anyway, I'm going to try. I've worked with broaches before, but I set up on grinding and ground them and this in between centers. So this will be the first time that I'm doing it on a lathe and not really grinding and not really in between centers or anything. So matter of fact, I think I might even have some old broaches in my toolbox yet. Yep, here's right here. Like this one here is for a spline. Actually a half spline. I had some hex ones too. Splines. We did a lot of splines. Oh, here's a hex. No, that's a spline also. Anyway, you get the general idea. So I want to make that first, and I'm going to run it in some test pieces to make sure that it's going to work. And I should spark this and see what kind of material it is. I'm thinking it's stainless, so it's not going to be heat treating. But it won't need to be heat treated in plastic anyway. So anyway, I'm going to work on a broach mandrel. So I'll be back when I get that milled down to a square. Okay, I took the first cut on that diameter, and basically what I did was laid it on a parallel and cut it down to the 1/4 inch diameters. Now for the second cut, to take it out of there, I may have to find another block, but we'll put this flat up against the back. That's going to clock it now. The only thing is, I might have to get a different parallel. Make sure my parallel is up against the back. Nope, I'll be fine here yet. So I'll be able to do this side and then flip it around. Make sure that it's up against everywhere. Make sure my parallel's to the back. Snug it up. Don't over tighten the vise. And I'm going to see, I should be, I'm going to just turn the spindle on here and crank over that diameter, and it should not, if it touches it, it should just barely touch it. Nope, it's not touching it, so it's still good. And we'll just slowly go across it. Be the second cut. The 3/4 inch carbide with about a 30 thou radius on the end of it. I'll have to take a stone and deburr it when I'm done here. Oh, it did touch the diameter just barely. That's okay. It'll still be fine. So now we'll deburr this edge, and then we'll just flip it. Keep this to the back. Keep that side to the back, make another cut, and then we'll flip it and do the last cut. It'll all be just what I just showed you. So when I get done with that, I'll come back. I'm going to cut away here and go ahead and make those cuts. I got to deburr it, and then I'll make the other two cuts. Okay, so here's the stock, and you'll see it's just little corners on it to all the left. That's all that's left from the diameter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over the lathe here, set you down here, and I'm going to put it in a 5C collet chuck, 1/4 inch on one end. That's going to be the finished end. This is going to be the small end. So this is going to be the pilot, and then it's going to go from smaller to bigger, and hopefully right in here somewhere it'll be full size and the rest will be full size. So now I'm going to put a center in this side. I got to round up a tool. Okay. I'm going to have to round up a tool, and I'm going to have to get over to about there somewhere. Set my tailstock at the right spot here. Give myself some room. It's a live center. So basically, it'll look almost like a grooving tool with probably 5-degree angle on the end of it. And I don't remember that kind of stuff anymore. So, and I wanted about, I'll have to see what I got. I'll have to round something up, but when I get the tool all set up and going here, I'll come back and I'll show you a couple cuts here. Okay, I started cutting the teeth on the broach. I'm still a little too aggressive here as far as the broach just has to be tapered out some more. So I'll have to go in and take more off each one and extend my cuts out. So I'm just going to run through a few cuts here and kind of show you what's going on. Let me take this off here and put the magnet right on my tool post here. Get you facing down. Alright, so what I'm doing is I just came in until it cleaned up on the corner here, and then I moved over and then out, in for the next one, over, out, in, and you'll see. So we're going to go back and we're going to make this one a little deeper. So I'm about half the tool bit from that edge. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not going to any numbers. We're just going to make it a little less aggressive. So now we're at the bottom. We took a little more off. So now I'm going to take and move over. And this is going to cut the face of the next one. Right to there. Pull out. Move over. And then we're going to go in and we're going to take that one down a little bit too. And then over to the next one. That's cutting the face. Out. Back. And then we're going to go in and cut a little more off that one. Over. That moving over like this is just giving it some place for the chip to go. Oops, forgot to make my little chip clearance. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that right there. Looks kind of like a Christmas tree. So we'll take this out of here. I've got one a hole that I've already broached, so I might have to drill another hole to get a real true representation. Go back over here to the vise. That's where it doesn't take much to push it through. But here's one that I did before, and it was a little tough to push through, so I figured that I needed to take a little more. I'm going to get another piece of plastic here, and we're going to drill another hole. Another piece of plastic here. Alright, I got another piece of old plastic here. We're just going to drill a 1/4 inch hole through that. I had it drill out here. What do I do with it? Where's that? Take this one. And we're just going to poke a hole right through there. Alright. And we're going to take our broach that we just made, stick that in that hole, and bring my tool chuck down, and we're just going to push it through. Oh yeah, much easier this time. Of course, that's thinner material though too. I can finish pushing it through by hand, matter of fact. Oh, don't drop it. So there's the hole. That naturally has to be the bird. Let's see if it fits on. Let's see if it fits on the spindle here. Here's the spindle out of there. And it should fit on there. Let's see. Okay, fits on there. Not too bad. And that was only pushing it through once, so, and naturally it's going to be an inch 187 thousandths, not a thin piece like this. I'm going to get a thicker piece and do the same thing again. I've got a much thicker piece. I'm going to go, these are too big. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole through it. And we'll push it through this once and see. Okay, I drilled a hole through it. I'm going to put you back over here so you can see. And I drilled a hole through it. It's got a burr on the back, but there. And we'll drop that in the hole. Line that up like that. I might have to drop the table down a little bit. It's thicker material now. There we go. Didn't take much to push it through the other one. It's a little tougher here. Not that bad though. Get another stroke here on my handle. It's not that bad though. I'm not going to be able to push it through by hand, but I can tap it out with a mallet. Punch that one through. I might have to go back and make a couple more teeth and make it a little less aggressive. Well, you know, pushing it through multiple times too is gonna help, because right now it didn't have no place for the chips to go through, so it quit cutting basically. So we'll get the first couple teeth started here and we'll push it through twice. Oh yeah, it was much easier that time. So I think I'm gonna leave it. I'm going to leave it right there. If I push it through 2 or 3 times, that's fine. In the book, it says to use a 1/4 inch file. Well, I didn't want to buy a file and just use it for that, so just see if it fits through with 2 times. 2 times through, will it fit? It's a snug. If I forced it, it would go. But if I go, I'm going to go from the back side now this time. Get the squares lined up. I think I got it lined up. It's getting easier and easier as I do it. In fact, I pulled it off by hand there. I tapped it and then so I don't know. It's a big jump. It's good there, good there, good there. Then this one has a big jump, a fairly big jump, and then I actually think this one is lower, so I need to lower that one. Mark this with the pencil. So that one. Then I took a big jump right here. So I need to lower that one down. The rest of them are pretty good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play with it some more, and I'll decide whether to go ahead and make more cuts or not. But it works the way it is, so. Anyway, that may be the man roll for this spool, and then I'm going to go ahead and start turning up the spool. I drew up a little sketch out of the book. So, until next time, catch you later.